Now I start most of the videos showing that I have my 9 core region stance Swiss. If you're interested in getting this, go to wrightbalance.com. Bottom left under the screen where the ebook is, you'll see an icon that says Find a Wright Balance Professional. Click on that and you'll see around the world where our Wright Balance professionals are. They're all over the United States. And we're continuing to train on a quarterly basis. So I'm going to use this now, but I want to show you today how center of mass is impacted by, at the top of the golf swing. Center of mass at the top of the golf swing is impacted by stance width, by grip, and by ball position. In particular, grip and ball position. So once you have your upper core player, we know the upper core player, for example, I'm going to go to 9, which is my very top of my core, upper core. Your upper core player plays with what we would call a weak grip. Weak is counterclockwise, strong is clockwise. So I want you to take, if you have your 9 stance widths, go to an upper core stance width. Take your right hand and put it at 45 degrees. You don't have to have the strip down. You can still feel this. So what I'm going to do is, as I stand here, I'm going to take my left hand behind my back, right hand to the top. You'll notice that my center of mass, I feel pressure in the right side. My center of mass is more target side than it is rear side. But I feel pressure in the right. It's a great drill if you're an upper core player to feel where you need to be at the ball, by the way. Find your stance width, go to the top. The other thing you'll notice is I turn down, I will stop here. And you're not going to see it on video. You're going to feel it. What you're going to feel it as is a change in direction. I'm on the balls of my feet, so I'm going to rise, and then I'll turn on through. So my center of mass is going to be at the top. Now, target side at the top. Now I'm going to go to a lower core stance width, rather narrow here on this strip. And to go to the lower core, I'm going to do just the opposite. I'm going to go from 45 here to 45 up. You'll notice where my right elbow is out, very much like the upper core player. Now my right elbow goes more toward the chest wall. Now when I turn back from here, you'll notice that my center of mass is more over the right side. And my weight is more over the center of the arches. I can feel that in the backswing, which allows me to turn the hips through. And that's what the lower core player, you'll find the lower core player turns the hips, club bottoms out. Upper core player, on the other hand, back to upper core. As they come down, the hips aren't clearing, they're rising. This is called vertical ground force. Do not jump, do not try to create it. It's created by your setup. It's created by your grip. So let's go to mid-core just to give you an idea. So your mid-core player is going to have much more neutral grip. Going to point that right hand straight ahead. And now we're going to turn to the top. You'll notice how I'm pretty centered over the pelvis. And that's your mid-core player. As I turn through, I clear a little, rise a little. I do a little bit of everything. We call the mid-core the hybrid. You may find your mid-core player rising like Justin Thomas, mid-core. Cameron Champ, mid-core. So as they turn through, everything is working. So they're going to borrow a little from the upper, a little from the lower, and sometimes they're more one than the other. The combination, you're going to find, that's the vanilla swing, that's the Adam Scott swing, that's the swing that most golf pros, we all strive for in the years past, and that's what many teach. Okay, let's make one change now. We're going to introduce a ball. This is extremely important, ball position and center of mass. So if I get this ball position back a little bit, I'm going to put it more center for my upper core player. So I'm going to put this ball more center for the upper core player. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to turn this, I'm in an upper core stance. I'm going to put this hand at a 45, that weak grip position we talked about, and I'm going to turn to the back. Now, notice where my center of mass is. It is more centered like I would be in mid-core. Ball is centered. So when I turn through, to get to the ball, I'm going to drop down and under. And that's a little bit of a block, and it's terrible mechanics. Just by changing ball position, I can change center of mass. So I'm going to move this ball forward where I would have it, more forward in the upper core player. I get set. Now you'll notice that's where I want to be. This is also a great way to determine where do I want my ball. I can feel that ball position is a little forward of where I should be, but this is where I'm going to be. I'm rising and I'm turning through. So I'm going to adjust that ball position about a half a ball back. When you're practicing at home without a club, it's a great drill to find your ball position that sets your center of mass where you want it to be. So here I'm going to go again, 45-degree angle, weak right hand, turn to the top, and there it is. Okay, I can feel I'm not here. I'll show you that position in a moment. But now center of mass is definitely target side. I feel pressure on the left. I feel pressure on the right. Now I'm ready to turn back through, and that's perfect ball position for me, I can tell you. Try this if you're an upper core player and you'll feel it. Try it if you're a lower core the other way. We're going to do one more thing for the upper core. We're going to get it too far forward. Okay, that's well forward. Nicholas played everything off, putter, everything off the left heel. His mechanics were a little bit different. So we're going to go upper core, too far forward. Now you'll see where I go. I'm now way target side. I've reduced about 50% of the pressure on my right side. I have nothing to push off with. I'm going to lose power. So finding the correct ball position by core region, very important. Let's go now to lower core. Okay, and I'm going to put the lower core, it's going to be center to center back generally. I have a pretty narrow stance for a lower core because that's what's on my plank strip here. So I'm going to go under, and with that ball position, and that sets me beautifully in the backswing. So as I work here, hips are going to clear, and I feel that's a good ball position for me for a low core. Let's move the ball forward for low core. And I get set, bad ball position. And now I'm going to, this is what we used to call the reverse pivot. So ball position, low core, top of the swing. To get back to that ball, I'm going to rock and block. So I'm going to have to go here. A ball position is something that simple is going to change your entire setup. All right, and I can get that ball position too far back. It's hard to do with a low core player. Now let's go to mid core, and mid core is going to be center forward. So move that ball just a little forward. Now I'm over the center of the pelvis, and that's going to be a good ball position for me. I can feel it, I can see it. If I get it too far forward, I'm going to get back to, now I've got to rock, and I have to rock and block to get to it. This is rock, and this is block. That comes right off the tour. It's an interesting label, but it describes the swing that's going to create. So when you're working on ball position by core region, just play with it at home. Without a club, you're going to find your best ball position for your best motion. Now, why does this happen? Well, one last thing I want to show you is if you take both hands, let's just take the right hand, and you hold it here and you relax, I want you to notice where your weight goes. That's how we get over the center of the arches. My weight just went toward my heels. Now, if I move my hand on top, my weight's going to come back forward. And you have to be very relaxed to feel this. And I'm in a mid-core stance with. If I go to a lower core stance with, which is already putting me more center of the arches, this is putting way back. I'm going way back. If I go to an upper core stance with this, I'm still back. So your grip, you don't want what's called a strong grip. You do have upper core players on tour who have one or two who have a very strong grip. Boo Weekley, J.B. Holmes, very different mechanics. They have a repeating swing that does the same thing. You'll find the majority of your upper core players are going to be much more on top. They're going to cover the ball, and their release is going to be exiting very quickly left. So again, here, Just relax, you'll feel. Notice this right elbow goes out, bring this arm back, and my weight goes back. So your grip, your ball position, all of these factors are changing balance. I would strongly encourage you to work on your setup, your ball position, and your motion, and your grip without a club. You don't necessarily need your blank strip down, and you don't have to practice all three. I would practice only in your playing core region.